Hello, pursuers. Welcome to another episode of the Pursuit of Happiness podcast. I am your podcast host, Naz Kazimi. Wow. We have, it's been a while. Let's just say that. It's been so busy. I've been so busy. So my apologies for not jumping on here sooner. It's just, as you all know, I'm traveling, so I'm back home. So it's just a bit hectic. Lots of things going on. My daughter's sick. I'm babysitting a dog. This is something that we would kind of always do prior. Like we had a dog that we would always sort of babysit. So he's kind of back here with us. Just lots going on, you know. I also want to just say thank you for downloading the Dear Naz episode. I didn't realize that was such a hit. It seems to be gathering lots of views and downloads. So I'm definitely going to put out another episode because I do get tons of questions. Just be patient. I have so much to catch up on. I know this is the main complaint that I get all the time. It's just because it's just me. I don't have a production company beside me. Not yet anyways. It's not fancy schmancy, you know, it's just me. I'm doing the best that I can. And I kind of love it. Like, also some more good news. I actually just recently got into voiceover work. So I guess all those haters out there, like, thank you for being a hater and saying like, are you a man boy? And just all those kind of mean things that they would always say. Okay. I had to pause for a second. I know that you guys in the first, 2 minutes are going to hear that little buzzing in the background. I don't know where the heck that came from. Trust me, it was bugging me too. I'm just going to make all this stuff lower. Guys, I don't know why, I just have the worst luck with these. I'm trying my hardest to do the whole microphone set thing. And lately, I just feel like it's just been picking up so much more audio. And I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Am I putting, the audio volume, too loud? Or, what's happening, you know? And my headphones were just on the table and they were charging. And I guess as I was just shaking, or, you know, I'm ADHD, so, shake a leg or whatever, it was, making that tick, 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 tick sound. And I could hear it. And that wasn't even, I was like, is that the mic picking it up? Or am I just hearing it? So I had to stop, figure that out. Thank God. Even when I did my voiceover stuff, the guy that accepted, because you have to audition, right? It's for an audiobook. So yay, my first voiceover job. He also sent me some feedback. He's like, can you make your mic louder? Because at times it was hard to hear. And I think part of that is because when I get nervous, you can, I'm so expressive, you can tell through my voice. So when my voice gets lower, it might be that I'm unsure of what I'm saying. I'm not speaking with the utmost confidence. So I think at times when I was reading the script for the audition, my voice went low at some points, but also I need to figure it out with the mic, maybe make the low stuff much lower so it picks up a lot higher. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure it out, right? If anyone has feedback or any I would say recommendations, please let me know, because again, I'm trying to figure it out. Even sometimes when I put it too loud, I can hear buzzing in the background. I'm like, where is that coming from? Where is that buzzing coming from? For so long I had the mics and everything was fine. I hold the mic, I move the mic, I would sit in my bed and I wouldn't hear as much stuff. So is it just that the audio isn't as good anymore? As did I screw something up? Did I press something? You know what I mean? So many things are going to my head. But anyways, let bygones be bygones. Let's just get on. This is the best that I can do. I'm not in a studio. I just have a little podcast. It's the Mayona Light Podcaster Kit. So I am looking into getting another microphone, because right now I'm holding this one. This is the one that you kind of attach to something and it can kind of come down, and it has it looks like a fence in front of it. But I left all my other stuff in Mexico because I just didn't want to bring the entire kit with me. My mom just brought all those boxes, and they're all in boxes, and the boxes take up so much space. And we want to come with more empty suitcases because we want to go back with more things, right? Anyways, when I do go back to Mexico, and if I come back, I will obviously bring that. I'll have the entire kit. But also I want one of those mics that just kind of sit in front of you where you kind of don't have to worry about it. And I'll see how that will affect, how that's going to affect also just my voice, you know, because sometimes I listen to other podcasts and it's really high and crisp, but a little too high, there's no low tones. I don't know. Anyways, this is just me figuring it out. So thank you for being on this journey with me, pursuers. Let's get into what I've been wanting to get into, which is Beverly Hills. I think the buzzing is from the fridge, but can you, okay, I know, I'm so ADHD right now. I haven't taken my medication in like almost a month, you guys. Be proud. Clap, clap, clap. I can hear y'all clapping. But here's what I want to say. I find it so weird because the fridge buzzing you can kind of hear in the background. And I'm like, is that normal? Like, should we not be hearing the buzzing of the? But then I guess podcast studios are supposed to be soundproof, and because the mic can pick up on little things like that, so that's kind of crazy. Anyways, let's get into Beverly Hills because it has been so long. I'm recapping 3 Beverly Hills episodes. Okay. Total side note here. I just totally went and hold on. Okay, perfect. I just totally went and Googled. I know I paused it. I Googled. I'm like, what's going on? So this is a condenser microphone, and typically it's more sensitive to sounds than a dynamic microphone. So I just learned something new. Number 2, it says stay away from PCs or anything that's electronic. I'm right next to my fridge in the kitchen. Okay, great. So now we're understanding the humming sounds. But it also told me to maybe turn down the volume of the mic, which I do generally keep high. But I just turned it down anyway, so I'll double check. I'll hear if the sound is there. But I'm sorry, you guys. I am going to order the dynamic mic. Things will change, I promise. Just hang in there. Don't put the volume too high so you can hear the humming in the background, okay? You're going to feel like you're being invaded by aliens. But anyways, regardless, it's way better than it sounded when I first started podcasting because I only had those mics that you do like when you do those influencer videos. Anyways, Beverly Hills, right? Beverly Hills. Seriously, let's get started. Okay, so that again in the background was my coffee machine, okay? Sorry about that, guys. Oh my God, I'm so ADHD. Also, before actually we get into Beverly Hills, I do want to kind of send out some hot topics that I've heard recently, and they're more on the serious side, so I just want to cover those first before I get into Beverly Hills. I know you guys are like, Nas, just get into the Beverly Hills recap. I will, I promise. First, I want to send out my huge condolences to Mary Crosby over the death of her son, Robert Jr. You guys, I saw this, and we all know Mary's from Salt Lake City, okay? I saw this, and I nearly had a heart attack. For many reasons. First of all, I've grown to love Mary. First season, I wasn't really sure, but one thing in the Housewives world, which, as you know, is my guilty pleasure. It's sometimes ironic for me to see all these women fighting because I don't have friendships like this. I don't think I'll ever have friendships like this. And when I see these kind of friendships happen, or just these incidents and these fights and these disagreements, I'm like, is this even real life? Like, does this actually happen in real life, right? I'm an addict. Okay, I've been sober and clean now, and this is my second time around. I talk about this all the time. January 1st, 2019, I quit smoking cigarettes. We call that clear. So I've been clear for, I think it's 6-7 years. 2019, yeah, let's just say 6 years, right? No, wait, 7 years. January 1st, 2022, I quit drinking alcohol. Part of it was March of that year, I was going to have some surgery, some cosmetic surgery. So I was like, let me just see how long I can not drink for. So then March passes and I haven't drank. I had my surgery in March, and obviously in recovery, you can't drink either. It's just not recommended, obviously, right? So as time went on, I was like, okay, finally, sometimes you need those events, like getting pregnant, or I hear a lot of women that vape and then they get pregnant and they stop vaping, but then you need those events to kind of catapult you. So you're like, okay, I already have 9 months. Maybe I just won't go back to it. And it kind of motivates you and encourages you more. So I just didn't drink and pick up another drink. And then the following year, January 1st, 2023, I quit smoking weed. Now, smoking weed was my hugest, I've been doing that since I'll be 42 this year. I was smoking weed since I was like 18. Like when I graduated high school, I wasn't as heavy as I got into my later years, but I even smoked during my pregnancy. Okay, weed. I know. You guys are going to be like, what? But my daughter's good. It did not affect her. I'm not recommending this at all. I'm not encouraging it. I'm just stating how addicted I was to weed and I didn't really realize it. It was so part of my life, my everyday life. In my 20s, it was more like the party drugs, like cocaine, you know what I mean? I was never really an alcoholic, but I would drink just to have to buy cocaine, you know? I would order my first glass of wine at the restaurant, have a beer, and I had the guy on standby. So as soon as I finished that glass, like, he's coming, because then I can have 3, 4, 5. You know, like, it was like that, right? Luckily for me, I was more, I mean, being an addict, you're not lucky at all, but I was more into the uppers, okay? And I was partying and doing drugs at a time when fentanyl wasn't introduced yet, right? Because nowadays you don't have to just be a downer, like a heroin addict or someone that likes like down, as they say, to be introduced to fentanyl. You could be doing cocaine and it could be laced with fentanyl. You could smoke a joint that you buy off the street and it's laced with fentanyl. Again, another thing that I'm looking for, like all these things I'm so grateful for, but I also live in Vancouver, British Columbia, and weed became legal. Like weed was kind of decriminalized and then it became legal. So I've always been able to get it from good sources. And once it became legal, you don't need to go find your buddy at the end of the street and buy from him anymore, like, and be so inconvenient or drive all the way out to wherever he is to pick up your weed. You can just go to a store, and literally, I lived downtown Vancouver. There was like a store on every corner, you know? So once it became regulated, you know how things are when they're regulated, right? The government makes sure that it's coming from a good source, and hence why they regulate it. And to be honest, like at first, when they wanted to regulate things, like we were all up in arms. Oh yeah, they just want to tax us. Of course they're going to tax you, you know, like they're going to get a cut of it too. But if you look at it now from where I am, it's like, thank God that it was regulated, because then you know it's coming from a good source and people can smoke joints without having to worry about falling dead on the ground, you know? Nowadays, like there's websites where you can order cocaine. There's websites where you can order like pills, like dexedrins and Adderalls and Ativans and cocaines, and it's just, I'm just so happy that I'm not in that place anymore, because I'm not too sure what lengths I would have gone to be able to get what I needed, because it's not that I don't care about anybody else, but it's just, I think two things can be true at the same time. Like people think that when you're an addict, you don't care about anybody else. You can still care about other people, but also only care about what you need to be doing in that moment, because that power, that hold that addiction has over you is so much more powerful than caring about other people in that moment, you know? And sometimes you do the drugs even more or more frequently to get your mind off of the fact that you're disappointing people. So when people say they don't give a shit, they didn't care about us, they went and they did whatever they wanted, they didn't care about their family, they didn't care about their kids, I think that's completely wrong. I think that you do care. But you're just so into it that the thought of coming out of it is so much more overwhelming than just going and getting high, you know? Not to mention, like, you just got to worry about getting high. You don't have to worry about eating food. You don't have to worry about, you know, like, you don't have to worry about much, you know? It just kind of keeps you on one track mind. But some drugs are harder to quit than others. And again, I just want to knock on wood, and I'm so grateful that I was able to beat it. And it wasn't my first time getting sober. I was sober prior in my early 20s for almost 5 years, and then I relapsed. I started dating a younger guy. I had a kid. I was like, maybe, you know, I can just have a glass or two here. And I did. It was great until it wasn't. Like, I think for the first year and 2 years, I was only drinking a glass of wine here and there. And then, obviously, like, just, I don't even know how it escalated back to how I was partying before, but that's because I'm an addict, you know? And even when I quit drinking, and this is going to be my second time around, and once I hit 5 years, which will be January 1st, I'm going to really be happy, because I haven't passed 5 years. And this is the longest I've ever not smoked cigarettes for, and this is the longest that I've ever not smoked weed for, because since I started smoking cigarettes when I was 18, I was also smoking weed. And since I started smoking weed when I was 18, I was also smoking cigarettes. Everything that my parents told me not to do, I went and I did. You know, not blaming them, but they just didn't educate me much. They just said, don't do it. They weren't like, don't do it because it does this to you and it's expensive and you stink and this is what's going to happen. And, you know, there was no examples. It was just, don't do it. And, you know, one thing I do different with my own daughter, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but one thing I do different with my own daughter is like I explain to her why it's bad. And the conversation doesn't end there. And you can ask her. Like sometimes she gets annoyed with me, but the conversation comes up every time we see that in public, on TV. I remind her, I'm like, see how gross it is smoking cigarettes? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like I remind her back to the conversation that I initially had with her, you know? And I don't know what the future will hold. I can only hope that she's kind of learned, because I know I have friends that their parents never smoked, never did drugs, and they also never smoked, never did drugs. They weren't even into it. Like they just, you know, and then I know other people that their parents did party a little bit, but they themselves don't want to touch it because they're afraid that they're going to end up with their parents. And then I know people that their parents didn't touch it at all, and then they end up being huge addicts, you know. My dad was also a bit of an alcoholic. And how I know that is because like he's either drinking and he's full on drinking and we can smell it on him and he's just got to have a bottle every night, or he completely stops. So that to me shows me that although he doesn't want to say, hey, I'm an alcoholic, he can't kind of do it on and off. Like he's either full blown drinking all the time or he has to completely not drink at all, you know. He's a boomer, so this is just his way of saying it, you know, without actually saying yeah. You know. So anyways, back to this being about Mary, like addiction is so powerful. And even I sometimes find it so hard to be like, is it really a disease? Is it really a disease of addiction? Can we just snap off of it? But one thing I know for a fact is once it's got its grip on you, it's the hardest to let go. It's like that saying that people say, like once a man or a woman, once you're in an abusive relationship, I don't want to point it to any gender. Once you've been hit by your partner in any type of relationship that you're in, friendship, partnership, romantic ship, situationship, whatever you want to call it. Once it reaches a certain point, then that becomes the baseline and it's easy for them to hit you again. That's also why sometimes people, when someone talks rude to them, they're like, that's it. I cut it off. We're not friends anymore. Because once you get to that line, it's hard to bring it back. Like once you do it once and you experience it and you know what it feels like, and let's say you get away with it that one time, it's easy to get back to that point. You know? Consequences got to be really... It's just like once you are weightlifting, you know? Once you hit a PR, your personal best, your personal record, you're like, damn, now you go higher, you know? Like, there's so many metaphors for it, but it's like, it's so consuming. It consumes every part of your life. And my heart goes out to anyone, and Mary right now specifically, who has lost someone to addiction, because since I can remember, almost every year, I know someone multiple times throughout that year that has died from addiction. And it didn't get any better when COVID hit, and it didn't get any better that fentanyl happened to be around when COVID kind of hit, because more people died. More people died alone. Just that year, I knew 2 people that came to my gym that were members at my gym that I had great relationships with. They both died, both men. Both died alone because they both injected fentanyl and they were alone and there was no one there to call. And it's just, and I know that Mary's son, I'm not saying it was fentanyl. I know that it was downers though and pills, and it starts that way. And I personally don't think that people are like, this is it. I'm going to take this because I want this to end. I think that they just want it to end in that moment. And unfortunately, that ultimately leads to them passing, and it's so sad. And my heart goes out to her, and and you know what's even worse? Like I have that fear too, because it's her only child, you know? Like, I'm not saying it's any better if you have like multiple children because, you know, oh, well, one's gone, so I have 3 more. No, it's not that. But it's like, what's the purpose now? You know, like your entire life is built around raising this child and making sure that like they have the best of everything. And they're ultimately human beings that are going to make their own decisions. And you just pray and hope that whether you have 10 children or 1, that they make the best choices for themselves. And if they make mistakes, which sucks, like we never want them to make mistakes because they're perfect, right? But if they make mistakes, that they have enough courage and strength and knowledge to not only perhaps come to you, but to know where to go to help themselves out of that situation. And unfortunately, you're always one bad decision away from it ending your life. And my heart goes out to her. She's so beloved. She's so loved. People love her. And she's always so honest, and she's so strong in her faith, you know, like even the statement that she gave out, like, you know, he's been called home. Like, I can't help, and as Christian as I want to be, and as Christian as I feel that I am, and as godly and as spiritual and as I believe in God, like, I question my faith when things like this happen. I'm like, how, of all people on this planet, would it be allowed to be her, who is just so authentically herself, who has a son that ends up battling with addiction, and then now she has to kind of face this demon? And it's like, but then on the flip side of it, I'm like, maybe it needed to be her, because she's the one that can send the message, you know, like she's the one that can spread more faith and can show people how they can be strong in their faith when they encounter situations like this. Like, I don't know. I'm not that strong, you know? I'm a strong girl. People are like, you're so strong, Naz, but I don't know if in this situation I could ever be strong. Like, I don't even really want to think about it for myself, but all I can do is just hope to God that Mary is able to overcome this and not blame herself, and to not let Robert also die in vain. You know, my cousin that was killed in Iran. Look, I'm not going to allow him to die in vain. He died because he was protesting to help change the government. And I will be damned, pardon my language, if I allow his name to just die with the rest of the people that have just died, you know, whether it's old age or whatever, because he was fighting for something. And I'm going to remember, and I'm going to make sure everyone remembers his name. You know, not only was he a Kazemi, which I'm extremely proud of, but he was just so young, and he just wanted change, man, you know? And same thing with Robert. Like, and if I know Mary the way that I think I know her, I know that she's going to use this to also help change other people's lives. And the fact that they even brought that to the camera, brought it on TV, I'm sure just that had helped so many people. And now, moving forward, if there's anything from his death that we can take, is that he's going to change more people's lives. And people were like, don't allow this on camera. This shouldn't be on camera. First of all, he was an adult. And number 2, why not? Because now other people will be able to walk through this. This isn't just a Hollywood movie. It's not a Netflix film. It's not on Amazon Prime. She's a real human being that's going through it in real time. And although we're not going to watch it in real time, I mean, you can just go visit her Instagram on real time. We're going to be able to walk with it through her. And that is good. Even Hollywood movies have helped people. But I'm just saying, why not another reality show that can help? Even if it helps one person, it's done more than it could, you know? So the people that are kind of like, this shouldn't have been brought to TV, they should have done this in private. No, I think that, thank you, Mary, for bringing this to TV. We love you even more. She's not only walking through this alone, she has millions of other people on this planet that can now relate to her, because we all know someone that we have lost, whether it's our own personal family member, our sons, our brothers, our daughters, our family. We all know someone that has been affected and has died from drug overdoses. And now she doesn't have to walk through it alone. There's no shame in it. She can find purpose much more quicker because she realizes that all these people are with her, you know, and I think that's powerful. I think that's kind of beautiful, you know, and I just hope that she, you know, is also able to mourn, you know, and I'm so devastated for her. Of course, this is sad. Like, I'm not a strong nurse, so you only think about these things because you put yourself in that situation and realize how you would have dealt with it. But I really hope that she is surrounded by loved ones during this time, and she just realizes that this is just really going to help more people than she could ever imagine, you know. So condolences to Mary Crosby and her family. We love you, Mary, and we are here with you. Okay. On that note, it's hard to kind of switch gears when you just talk about something so sad. So also, let's get into a little bit of what I've seen online for you guys. Atlanta's coming back. How exciting. I saw the trailer. I'm so excited. Lots of new people. I think I recognize Portia, Phaedra, not Eva. Gosh, I forgot her name. The singer. I want to keep saying Eva because I just have been hearing so much about her with the whole America's Next Top Model. Oh my God, this is going to really kill me. But there's another girl with the light eyes. Drew. There we go. Found it. Drew. So I seen Phaedra in it. I saw Phaedra, Portia, Drew. Cynthia, of course, is still a friend of. And then obviously the girls from last season, like Angela was there. God, I forgot the other girls' names. Anyways, forget that. But also there's so many more new people in it, which is kind of exciting to see. And people that I kind of heard of that were coming on. Like there's this lady that owns a restaurant called, I think it's the Slutty Vegan. Please correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm misquoting this, but there's a lot of new cast members. So anyways, it's just going to be exciting. I'm so excited to see that. I don't know how I'm going to be able to keep up with all this because I also have, like I said, my voiceover job and lots of things in the works. But what I'm going to try to do is maybe stick to the most important points instead of doing a full recap, like things that I find like the most important that I kind of want to cover. So I'm going to kind of transition into that as I move forward. So still recapping, but just not like play by play, like kind of just again, main points, topics of conversation, you know. I think if I had a co-host, obviously it would be a lot easier to kind of review stuff like that, but as I'm by myself, I just kind of, and first time doing this, kind of needed to figure out my structure. So I think moving forward, that's going to kind of what I'm going to transition into. So yeah, that's exciting. There was one more that was actually starting soon. It was Atlanta and, jeez, there was one more show. I forgot which one. Darn. Anyways, regardless, exciting. So, The Valley. The Valley's going to be starting up soon too. The regular Valley, not the Persian one. So that's exciting too. So lots of new shows coming. The Valley Persian Style tonight is the season finale. I think they only had 9-10 episodes. So I will cover all the last few episodes in one podcast episode. And also Traders. You guys, how good is Traders? As soon as I get off recording this podcast, I am going to go listen to Traders. And I can't wait to see who wins. Like, oh my God, what a good season. Every season is such a good season. Like, I think with the cast that evolves together as the month goes on, because they're only there for a month, I hear, to film, it gets better and better. And I thought for the first, like, I've been a watcher just like my Housewives since season 1. Season 1 was so good. Season 2 was great. 3 was even better. And 4, phenomenal. And yeah, you know what? The Housewives bring it. I'm not going to lie. Like, the Housewives are like part of the reason why it does so well. So I don't care what anyone wants to say, but I'm sorry. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, you know? Like, we can't help that. And this is why I love the Housewives. Like, they're entertaining, you know? So, and really quickly before we get into what we were supposed to get into, which I'm not going to say the name one more time until I start. I just want to quickly talk about the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. I'm surprised that they're not really. I mean, I guess they are like, because I guess part two just finished, so they are kind of like focusing on. I know they did Angel in part one. They did a little bit of Ashley. Talked to Wendy. I don't really see. I mean, unless part three, like things more unfold. Like, first of all, I don't see Wendy taking accountability for anything. She's still acting like she's, like not in this lawsuit. Like she's acting so like above everybody, and like I don't know. Like Wendy's changed so much. Like I do not like her. I don't want her on the show. I know she's a good representation of Nigerian women, and that's great, but I don't think she's a good representation of women in general, because she's the woman that will bring everybody down. And even when she's in the wrong, like she doesn't want to take accountability, I don't think that that's really a good role model for anybody, to be honest, I'm excited to see what Karen's going to say, because Karen said in the preview that I saw, she saying a lot of things that we were all kind of thinking, like when Wendy's mom told her to shut the fuck up. Honestly, I couldn't agree. Shut the fuck up and chill the fuck out, Wendy, Anyways, just want to cover those things. But now, you guys, finally, let's get into Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, okay? So I'm going to be going through episodes 8 to 11, because I did miss 4 of them. So I'm not going to do a whole play-by-play like I told you guys earlier. Like, I don't want to kind of do the whole play-by-play stuff anymore. I mean, you guys should have watched the show, really, or else you're not really going to understand the recap. But I just kind of want to go over some of the main points. So I'm going to skim through some of my notes. I did watch the latest 2, so episode 10 and 11, so that I'm caught up and I can kind of do a big recap. I just want to go over Amanda accusing Dorit and everyone else at the table, saying that Dorit had accosted her. Like, I mean, these words are huge. And I know Crystal Minkoff, I listened to her podcast, and she was talking with Cynthia, and she's like, she had used the word as well, and the girls didn't kind of agree with that, and they're like, but then Crystal's like, but that's my reality. And I understand if that's what Amanda wants to think is her reality, that's great. But I think there comes a point when you look at things a certain way, and the people around you are like, let's say most of the people around you, let's say 90 to 100% of the people around you are saying, no, like that's not it, that's a bit too aggressive, or no, that's not enough, like it was way more than that, like they're just kind of, there's a point in time when you kind of have to be like, okay, am I seeing these things wrong? Because everybody around me is not seeing what I'm seeing. You're allowed to feel how you feel, but there's a bunch of components to this. First of all, Amanda, you're on a TV show, a reality TV show called The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, okay? Just keep that in mind as you navigate through all of this, okay? I know you want to bring a different perspective. I mean, I came to the podcasting world because I feel like I'm going to bring a different perspective to the game. Great, cool. But at some point, if people start writing into me and be like, no, this is not making sense, like, you're totally far off, I'm going to kind of, like, reflect. And I don't see much of Amanda reflecting. I just see her as deflecting and being accusatory, so projecting exactly what she's thinking other people are doing to her. She feels like Dorit projected to her and Dorit accused her, and I feel like she's doing the same thing back. So it's really hard to find Amanda likable or to find her relatable at all, because, like, she's just not making sense to me. And I can imagine, like, from the feedback I'm getting from majority of people that are watching her, it's the same kind of thought all around from everybody. You know what I mean? I think that Kyle definitely is the type of person that lives for the camera. Kyle was one of my favorites, and she's been so quiet these past few seasons. She doesn't even talk. Kyle, where are you? What are you doing? Okay, so, like, your life was perfect. So, I mean, the first few seasons, Kyle's life wasn't perfect. She got into a fight with her sister, and, like, we navigated through that. She got into a fight with Kathy. We navigated through that. She's getting into a fight with Mauricio, and all of a sudden her life's perfect, and they're not going to get divorced, and she's still getting the same income. And because of that, it's hard for her to relate to her friends that are going through a divorce. Like, it's just so weird to me. Oh, is it because you're a producer now on the show as well? Like, you produce some of it? I don't like the direction that Kyle's character is headed in. Kyle is not being herself. Kyle wants to be the force multiplier. She wants Carlos King so badly to call her the force multiplier. Carlos King loves her, but Carlos King will never call her the force multiplier. She's the OG. She's definitely not the force multiplier. She wants to be so desperately and badly. She wants to be she wants to be the Giselle that moves the storyline along and like, Kyle brought it to the table. But instead she throws herself into a bigger hole, and I find her being like kind of unlikable. Like, it's been seasons building up, but finally, like, she's just unlikable. You know who does come to the rescue? Rachel Zoe. Rachel Zoe, this is why we love her. That's the perspective. You know how we were just talking about Amanda, perhaps, I mean, I don't know, I'm just assuming, based on what I'm seeing, wants to bring a different perspective to the game. Cool. You're allowed to do that because Rachel has, but Rachel does it in such a way that you understand. You know, like, I'm going to digress here for a little bit. Sometimes I have to give my daughter advice, you know, and for example, just an example, like kids being bullied at school for the way their food smells, you know, and I'm like, instead of going back to that person and bullying them, explain to them, you know, like maybe this is a different perspective and these kids haven't, be like, hey, yeah, I know, I get it, I love like ethnic foods, but sometimes, yeah, you're right, when you do put it in the microwave, it does give off a smell. Every food does. Asian food does. It's more like a fishy smell. I'm Persian food does. Our stews have East Indian. Just kind of make it so that they're aware, oh yeah, that's true, all these different foods do, they taste great. We all go out for Chinese food, we all go out for Japanese food, we all go out for East Indian food, we all go out for Persian food. But yeah, when it's cooled down and you got to warm it up back up in the microwave, it does have a smell. Instead of being like, excuse me, that was rude, your food stinks too, you know, instead of being one of those people, frame it in a way that makes people aware rather than getting them defensive. You know, get them to critical think, you know, and even if people are stupid, they're not going to be critical thinkers. You're saying it's so basic but so profound that it opens up that neuron in their brain that can just make it connect, even for like 3 split seconds, you know, because yeah, people are stupid. You know, which is if you can't even vent to your friends without having to choose your words, as Rachel says, then it's not a friendship. Dorit understands the assignment. She's on a reality TV show. She has been for quite some time. She hasn't had this amount of pressure and chaos in her life, and she just wants to vent. These are girls that, you know, she's going to be with them for the next 3-4 months filming anyway. She just wants to vent. But every aspect of her, it kind of reminds me of, I mean, I know I talked to you guys about this a lot, the relationship between me and my brother. Every aspect of her venting, someone criticizes it. She's not allowed to vent this way. You're not allowed to talk about the divorce. You're not allowed to, what the hell is she going to vent about then? Let the girl vent. And I think Rachel, again, nails it on the head. And Bose does too. At the moment, she doesn't care about the divorce proceedings. She just needs to let it out. And I think, again, I've never been through a divorce publicly, nor understand how the system works in the U.S. Like, it's kind of weird, like, because typically, for example, again, I'm going to digress a bit. When you go into criminal law cases, they ask the jury, have you heard of these people before? Because if you have, they won't put you on the jury because you're going to develop a bias. I would assume that would be the same thing for like divorce courts and all these things. But I guess not, because a lot of these people reference what they've seen on TV and they bring it back to the courtroom. And I'm like, but wouldn't that develop a bias in the courtroom? That's just my digression. That's just food for thought. If someone has something to counter, please inform. But educate me. Don't just, you know, belittle. But anyways, you would think that, you know, she's on a platform. She's allowed to vent. But this had nothing to do with, I mean, you can't use these things in a legal sense, can you? Like, even in the episodes coming up, like she goes shopping. I thought the shopping spree would be like $300,000 the way that Kyle and Rachel talked about it. $5,000? I'd probably spend that much in like 3 months on Amazon. Like, come on, guys. It's just, it's not that big of a deal. You know, like, Dorit already lives in the millions. I don't think an extra $5,000 is going to be that relative and comparative to how much money that the tax bracket that she's in. Even with the loss of PK's income, the tax bracket that she's in, 5,000 is pennies, you know? Now, if she's spending, like, buying all these bags and her bills come up to $100,000, okay, let's reconsider. Let's not post this. And I think moving forward, I did see Kyle mention that to Bose, and I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but in episode 11, when she was like, she was shopping, she should have been shopping. I can see, this is where I can give Kyle some credit. She doesn't want to say out loud, she shouldn't be doing that on camera because now they're going to use it against her. She's doing it in a way that she frames it where Dorit can still sort of backtrack without getting in trouble. But once someone says you shouldn't put that out on camera because now they're going to look at it if you go to court, boom. Those people that she's going to go to court with are definitely going to be looking at it because like, oh, well, thank you, Kyle. Thanks for throwing that out there because now we do have something to look at. You know what I mean? I get where Kyle's coming from when she's trying to protect Dorit, but this is my question. Have you even called Dorit privately and been like, Dorit, I want to tell you this in private so that if it does come up on camera, you know that it's coming from this kind of place. But genuinely, as a friend, I don't think that you should be saying these things. But does Kyle do that? Of course not. Kyle wants a TV show. Kyle wants to produce. Kyle wants to be, as Carlos King would say, the force multiplier. And she wants everyone to just praise her for being that. So she's not going to do stuff like that. She's not going to give her friends the heads up. She's not going to do... And I get it. Even Brittany Cartwright says, like, you know, hey, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Let's not talk about it right now. She still gives them that, like, slight heads up. You know? But then she wants the reaction to be really natural, and she wants, you know, because she is filming a reality TV show. I know Brittany said it really good. Kyle just kind of wants to be like the people's favorite, you know, but she also wants, I don't know, it's really hard for me to gauge Kyle. She's just, I'm telling you, it becomes so unlikable this season. I'm so disappointed in her behavior, but so grateful that we have someone like Rachel Zoe there to really kind of stand in for Dorit when sometimes Dorit can't find her words because she's kind of being ambushed in that moment. You have Rachel Zoe who's kind of one step behind Dorit, like kind of in her back and watching it and being like, wait a minute, but this, you know, and I appreciate that about Rachel, and I love friends like that. One thing I like that Erika, said to Kyle, or about Kyle in the confessional, I'm sure she's had this conversation with Kyle. One thing I know about Erika and Kyle is that they have these conversations off camera so that when it does come on camera, that's why they never really fight about it because it's things that they've said to each other off and on camera. But Kyle talking to Mo about PK and Dorit is keeping her in the middle of this entire situation. I could not agree more with Erika. And again, Kyle and Dorit are kind of in the fight, like they're in the middle. They're the one throwing punches, and then you have their coaches in the background. Not coaching them, I don't want to say that, but you have kind of their friends in the background watching and being like, hey, that's not fair, you know, because they can see what they can't see because they're kind of in the middle of it, you know? Fighting is not the right term. I don't want to make it seem like it's a boxing match, but y'all understand. Bo's also to the rescue. No one wants anything bad to happen to Dorit, and Bo's agrees with that and says that out there. Erika actually says that. We don't want anything bad to happen to you, Dorit. This was at the dinner party, right? But Bose also states that Dorit is willing to take the risk of talking out loud about PK and she's okay with that and that her friends should support her. So if that's what she wants to vent and bitch about, don't worry about anything else in the moment. Just be my friend in the moment, right? And back to what I said about Kyle. If Kyle really has these concerns, maybe talk to her off camera or let her know that you're going to be upset when you do bring it up on camera for a show because you love to produce, Kyle. There's your production right there. But ambushing your friends and like kind of like I forgot that word. Well, you kind of attack them on camera, blindside them on camera. It's not good. This is what causes the contention, you know, between the friendships. Bose also calls out Amanda. She says that Amanda's expectations of having confrontations her way is unrealistic, and that everyone agreed with that. Like, how can you manage people's reactions to things? You can't control that. And Amanda asks, we can't have confrontations without arguing, and everyone says. Amanda says, why can't we have confrontations without arguing? And everyone's like, that's BS, because arguing is a confrontation and it's disagreement. So you have to confront each other. I think I get what Amanda's trying to say. Like, confrontation might be a bit aggressive because typically when you think of confronting, you think of, well, someone said some shit about me, so I'm going to go approach them and ask them if they said it. So in the context of me and Amanda and all these women that, you know, as millennials that we've grown up, yeah, when you would go confront someone, like it was about to be a fight. But Amanda's also the one that whipped out the freaking dictionary and tried to school everyone on the word accost. So maybe she should actually take out the word confront and actually check out its meaning. It's just literally to bring to someone's attention, to go let them know, to bring it in front of them, you know? again, the way that we grew up and then the context that we would use it in when we were younger, like if you were going to go confront someone at school in the schoolyard, you're ready to freaking fight, you know? But again, she's the dictionary. She brought up the word accost. So look up the dictionary again and make sure that the word confrontation, you can see that it's because there's a disagreement and you're bringing it up to someone. But that you can't control the way that person reacts when you confront them, okay? This isn't peer mediation. Remember we took I remember when I was in elementary school, and because I was so outspoken, they made me go to peer mediation classes, so I would learn how to be a peer mediator. So if anyone fought, I would help them mediate. Do you guys remember those? Well, we did it back in Vancouver. So even in the peer mediation, like, people like have to be calm, and it's like, but that's so unrealistic. Okay, maybe in elementary school you can force them to stay calm, but in life people are going to have their reactions, and that's them. That has nothing to do with you. All you can do is control your own reaction. You know, you've always learned that you can't control what people do, or their reactions. Can only control how you react to them. And I think Amanda's missing that part. Like, she wants it all to be her way. And Bose is correct, and Bose is corporate. Bose has been in corporate America. She understands. She's gone through the HR staff. She knows you can't control. People can only control their own reactions. Now, if two people want to come into this disagreement and want to be very mindful of the way that they react, great. You're going to have less of a disagreement, less of a fight, you know, less of a discontent or contention in there, you know. It's going to be something that you can smooth out a lot faster. But if one person's severely angry and the other person's trying to kind of hold it in, if the other person is pissed, if this other person's not as pissed, you can only just continue being your calm, cool, collected self. And, you know, it might take some time. I want to get over things right away. And there are times that I hold grudges. Those times that I want to hold the grudges, the other person that I'm in a disagreement with wants to let it go right away. But they can't control how quick I let it go. It's not up to them. It's up to me. So just let me have my time, and I'll tell them. I'll be like, okay, I just need time, and then I'll get over this. And they will, you know, agree with that. Or if they're really my friends, they'll have to accept that, you know. Vice versa. There's times that I get into these tiffs with people and I just want to get over it right away. And you can tell, like, for the next couple of days, they're a little bit more attitude-y. They're not, you know, my mom is the queen of this. She'll give attitude for the next week, and then all of a sudden, like, she drops it one day. Like, she forgets. It's like her brain washes it out. It's like after the 7 days, like, the memory of it is gone. It's like washed out completely, you know. But like, for the next 7 days after the fight, like, she holds on to it a little bit. So she's still giving you attitude, giving you one. I know, my mom's a child. Giving you one word. My family's so toxic, guys. Hi, welcome to Why Podcast, and it's therapy for me. But yeah, she kind of holds on to it, and then finally, like, lets it go, you know. I can't control it. I've just learned to deal with this. I'm still myself. I'm still going to be nice. There are times that I ask her, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Why do you have such attitude? Just to kind of make her aware. And then she's like, I don't have attitude. But you can tell, my kid can tell. The dog can tell the vast difference from when she's initially upset to the days after it, leading up to when she completely lets it go. But that's her thing. And I can't force her to not be that way. I can't force anybody. I can only control how I am. So I just kind of, like, you know, dirt off my shoulder, because now I know her. She's my mom. I know how she acts in situations. I know you can't, you know, teach an old dog new tricks. You can make them a little bit more aware, perhaps, you know, but whatever, you know. So back to this sort of friendship. If they really want to be friends, Amanda is a certain way, but if she really wants to be friends with Dorit, just like how Kyle and kind of Bose and everybody else is sort of accepting, Rachel especially, much accepting of how Dorit is in this moment. Like, this is just the way Dorit is right now, because Dorit is going through something. I'm not going to try to tame her while she's kind of going through these kind of ups and downs. If you really want to be someone's friend, don't make this about you. Make this about them. Because currently, like, in this situation, it was about Dorit. And just move on right along. And you're going to hope that the next time that something happens where it's about you, that they can do the same for you. And if they don't, then you can reevaluate your friendship with them. But it doesn't have, it's like she wants this big, like, blowout, Amanda. She's like, oh, well, you're not responding the way that I respond? Okay, that's it. We're drawing guns and it's over. It's like she doesn't want the big fight and the big confrontation, but she kind of still does. It's kind of weird, you know? But anyways, that's what I can say about her. Rachel Zoe obviously breaks down. Again, this is still the continuation of their dinner, of Erika and Dorit's birthday dinner. Rachel Zoe breaks down and she kind of walks off, and Bose and Dorit follow her, and she's like, this is kind of triggering for me. She's like, if Dorit can't even be herself, imagine me. Imagine if I have my moment where I just need to freaking break down and cry, and I can't because I'm being judged. So that's why she walked outside, so that she's not judged by everyone at the table, you know? And I think Bose was really nice and supportive there. She's like, no, it's okay. Like, you can be upset and you can be whoever you want in this moment because you're going through something. And the people that say that you can't, that's just ridiculous, you know? So that's kind of how that birthday dinner ended. When they walked back in, they were singing happy birthday to Erika. And Kyle was the one that got the cakes, but because her and Dorit were going at it at the table, I don't think Dorit or her were kind of too impressed. I don't think Dorit really wanted to eat the cake. To be honest, looks like Dorit's not eating at all, but I can't blame her. She's going through something, you know? The next kind of part that I want to talk about is Sophia's wedding. Is it Sophia or Alexia? It's Sophia's wedding. Yeah, so it's Sophia, Alexia, and Portia. Am I right, you guys, or am I tripping? You guys, I literally just paused the recording and I went and I Googled, and it's Alexia. My bad. I wrote down Sophia. Sophia's the middle one, that's the tallest, and it's Portia. So it's Farrah, that's with Kyle's first husband. Then it's Alexia, Sophia, Portia. Okay. Alexia's getting married. And first of all, this is what I find. There's two things that I find hilarious about this. One, like an odd hilarious, and that's the amount of money. Like, Kyle's like, I'm hoping that we can keep it into the 6 figures and not have to go to 7. Bitch, 6 figures would be 9. Like, if you so that means she's allowed to go up to $9,999.99. $999,999, pretty much. So 99996, you know? Like, so if it goes over to $1 million, then it's going to be an issue. Like, how much money? And the place that they looked at, they were renting it out, didn't seem like it was crazy, but I think it's just the accessories, the extra things that they're adding. Oh my God, like to have that kind of budget. Like, I see people on these wedding shows that are struggling to even put $10,000 up, $20,000 up. And then you have something like that. That's just ridiculous. Okay. But with that being said, then Mauricio wants to be a DJ because he wants to save money on the DJing. What's with Kyle Cook, Meredith Marks, Marcus from Vanderpump Rules, Mauricio Umansky? What's with them trying to be DJs? Like, what's with this whole DJing thing? Even I kind of wanted to be a DJ at first, but to be honest, I listen to good music, not just house. Like, it's like really good old school hip hop. Like, my music would be jamming. Can you imagine at a pool in Vegas and you listen to like Mystical and like Ja Rule and like all those Tupac? Like, oh my God, my music would be jamming. But I don't want to do no record. I don't want to scratch. I just want to have the music. It will just go right in. I'll just pick the songs. Can I be the song picker? These guys want to like literally party. Like, I don't want to be partying. I just want, while I'm at the pool, to listen to good music. And if that means that I have to be the song picker, I'll be the song picker. I don't understand these. And it's mostly the men, like these midlife, and it's older men. Like Marcus is around the same age as Kyle Cook. He's in his, 40s? Same thing with, or late 30s? Same thing with Mauricio, like what, in his 50s? And they're all going through like midlife crises? Like, I just don't get it. Meredith Marks, midlife crisis. You know, also her husband's not around as much, and it's just, I think with Meredith, I'm not excusing it because I still think it's odd, but I think she was kind of given like an opportunity to do it, like they asked her to do it, like she didn't go seek it. And then with that being said, more opportunities opened up for her, which I think is great, because I think now more and more you do see a lot of more female DJs, but it hasn't always been the most common thing. So interested to see what kind of music she listens to, because like, what is it, house or techno? Like, that's just weird for Meredith because she's so slow and calm and collected. Then her choice of music is techno. Like, I'm pretty loud, rambunctious, passionate, dramatic, expressive, and I listen to hip-hop, so like, go figure, you know. But anyways, gotcha. This was kind of sad that Bose and her embryos didn't make it. They had gotten 2 embryos and the embryos didn't survive. So now they have to kind of rethink. I think what made her the most emotional in this kind of conversation, because she was having it with her doctor, with Keely, with who's her boyfriend, and then the doctor, is that they said that maybe look into a donate egg, like getting an egg donated to them and then using Keely's sperm. I can understand why she wasn't okay with that, because I don't think that I would be okay with that. That just didn't sound like it would be an option that I would want to go with either. Absolutely not. Like, I want my own egg. And I feel bad for her. And I understand. Like, she has a 16-year-old daughter. She's 48. My daughter is 13 now. So when my daughter is 13, when my daughter is, I think, 16, I'll be around 48 too. That's crazy. Maybe 46, 47, around there. Late 40s. Well, and I've regretted that I don't have a second child. And is it going to be just as hard for me? You know, my aunt did have a child later in life. Like, my cousin, my younger cousin, is the same age as, on my mom's side, same age as my daughter. Like, she's a couple years older than my daughter. You know, like, they're literally around the same age. That's kind of cool. But, like, women are having kids a lot later. It's just, it sucks when you have to think about stuff like this, you know? So I feel for Bose. She said, she has mentioned it a few times, that she's not sure if she is going to really pursue the egg retrieval multiple more times. She might do it one more time, but after that she's really gonna have to reconsider, because it is exhausting on the body, and she's a little bit older, you know? And I'm not too sure how she's responding to, like, the aging. I know some people really don't feel anything at all. They keep active, and I just don't know Bose's lifestyle to see, but I know some people can take it really hard. Like, things start to hit them a lot harder, you know, physically. So I can just imagine how exhausting that would be. And to inject hormones and do all these things, it just seems so tiring. Like, I'm already exhausted thinking about it, you know? But yeah, it sucks that there's a time limit on stuff like that, you know? We get into episode 9. Rachel Zoe is missing New York. Literally, me and my daughter watched her on Gossip Girl, and that show is based on New York. So, you know, it's funny, and I like Rachel, but they accused Angel on Potomac on moving to Maryland just so she could be on the Housewives of Potomac. Rachel Zoe just recently moved to LA. So are we going to blame her for moving to LA just so she could be on the Housewives of Beverly Hills? You know, like, people have multiple homes. These are rich women. These are supposed to be housewives. They're not supposed to just have one house and live in it. If we really want to have it to the standard of how it kind of was in the beginning, like, they're rich, they're making it, they're opening up businesses, they have multiple homes, vacation home, whatever. So if it's okay for Rachel to have 2 homes and be living in LA so she can film for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, it should be okay for Angel as well. You know? Rachel wants to invite Dorit and Kyle to New York because she kind of needs a hot girl summer. She wants to go away, visit her family because everyone's back in New York. She wants to invite Dorit and Kyle. Now at this point, Dorit and Kyle kind of left off on bad terms from the dinner party, from Erika and Dorit's birthday dinner party. So she's hoping that, you know, they can put things aside to be there for her, and they both do. They're both excited. I think Dorit was more excited. She's like, yeah, I'll do it. Kyle was a little bit hesitant, but still agreed to go. And on the other end of it, Amanda feels like she's not understood by the women, so she's throwing a dinner party, like a manifestation party, and of course the 3 women that are unable to attend. Well, the 2 women that are unable to attend are Kyle and Rachel Zoe, and I say that because she only invited Kyle and Rachel out of the 3. She didn't even invite Dorit. She says, lucky for me that Dorit was going away anyway, so I didn't really even have to extend that invite, but this is where it gets childish. If your issue is with Dorit, mainly, maybe you should invite Dorit first. She should be the first one on your list, because if you want these girls to get to know you better, why not start with the person that's misunderstanding you the most? Anyways, there's a scene where Dorit meets with Mauricio, and Mo says that PK wants a schedule with the kids. It's funny because Mauricio is telling Dorit that he's seen all the emails and the text messages back and forth between Dorit and PK. And instead of Dorit whipping out her phone and showing Mauricio her evidence, she doesn't. And she's like, this is what PK wants. He wants to paint this picture of me. At that moment, I would have shown, okay, Mauricio's already in the middle. You're the one that put Mauricio in the middle by having this dinner with him because you know that he's talking to PK. So if he's only gathering one side and telling Kyle all these things about PK, you know, because he has the information firsthand, why don't you show him your information firsthand so that he can make, you know, because you're so concerned with what Mauricio thinks, a better judgment, or go back and tell PK. Dorit does none of that. Then Dorit says on camera that she thinks that PK has started drinking again, and this is why his behavior has changed. So then my question becomes, I think it's nice that she's kind of said that and being honest about those kind of things on camera. Like, okay, he's drinking again, great. But Dorit, what about the other things that you're not saying? Like, I love Dorit. I'm just trying to look out for my girl here. Like, be honest, you know, like, that's not the only thing that you're not saying. Like, you can't, if you're going to put things out on the air, especially on national television, put it all out there, girl. Don't just pick and choose what you want to put out there. Don't just pick and choose so that now you're painting PK to be this certain kind of way, you know? That's not fair, okay? Because PK might be going to Mauricio, but he certainly isn't going to national television. But you seem to be doing that. You seem to be, and I know she didn't want to say that, and I know that she kind of was like forced she felt like she was forced in a corner, and then she had to say something like this. Then that makes me question, like, are you punishing PK because you think that he's drinking again? So, okay, he's drinking again, so let me make things a little bit more difficult for him, because that also can't be it. One thing that I've learned about the program being sober is that you can't make people be sober. And I get that she has kids involved. Unless she's deeming PK to be a threat to the kids because of his drinking, let the man drink. You just worry about the part of the deal, or your end of it, and just make sure that, you know, you guys have a schedule set and kind of be done with this. You can't tell him that he can't drink and force that upon him. Like, that's just not your call to make. Again, I'm pretty sure that if it seemed like it was that bad, even Mauricio would be like, no, we can't have him around the kids. He's like bad alcoholic. Like, it just doesn't seem that way. It just seems like it's a personal thing with Dorit and him drinking. Like, it could be a trigger for her because she feels it could have led them down this road. And I know a lot of partners, when their other partner drinks for a long period of time, they kind of wish that it slows down. Look at Kyle and Amanda. But unfortunately, it's not their call to make. And if your partner's not willing to sacrifice a little bit after you voiced your concern, this is why you divorce or kind of go your separate ways. For Kyle and Amanda, no kids involved. For PK and Dorit, kids involved. Again, unless it's an other threat, which I'm sure the courts would hear and other people would support. I don't think Mauricio would allow PK to see his kids if he was a threat to them while he's drinking. This should be something that should just be eliminated from your vocab and just kind of move forward. Like, don't be hung up on this, Dorit. It's not going to help you, you know? Sutton calls her daughter to tell her that, you know, she got an annulment in the Catholic Church. I think Sutton thinks that her kids are dumb because they don't seem to care about any other stuff. Anyways, so now they all go to Amanda's house for her little manifestation party. Natalie, who is this girl that really wants to be on the Housewives, it seems like, Simon Fuller's ex-wife, first arrive at Amanda's. I don't get why she's always there, to be honest. But anyways, then Kathy and Sutton arrive, and then they're all analyzing the changes that Amanda's made, because it used to be Kyle's old house. It's kind of funny. Some of the questions that Amanda asks are, if you could have anything and the possibility is limitless, what would you want? As they're kind of writing and doing these things, Bose brings up that Dorit wasn't invited, and Sutton chimes in and says that you're not owning it, and like in this group, like she's giving her advice essentially, you have to own it. Amanda's confused, and she says that Sutton is the one who told Dorit in the first place, but now she's not sure why Sutton wants to give advice on how to resolve it. Well, Amanda, we all agree, we're not fans of Sutton, but welcome to reality TV and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Bitch, if you can't handle the heat, get the fuck out of the oven. Like, seriously. Like, this girl complains about everything. Like, has she not watched an episode of The Real Housewives? Like, did you think these are kumbaya moments? Like, everyone goes, sits around a fucking campfire and exchange friendship bracelets? Like, it's not fucking Girl Guides, girl. Like, seriously. What the hell show has Amanda been watching? Like the dum-dums of Beverly Hills, like where they just like, I don't understand this girl. Like she acts so smart, but she's pretending that she's so clueless that she's like not understanding like the show is about conflict and resolution. So now you're in a conflict, bitch, resolve it. Like she seems to be really good at getting herself in conflict, but not really good at getting herself out. So I don't know who wants to pay her for the manifestation stuff. And I do kind of feel bad for her, but it's annoying for me to watch someone just kind of like act so dumb. And if she really is that dumb, then I can't. Then maybe I've misjudged and I really need to take a step back because it's really hard for me to defend someone that can be that dumb, you know? And even my notes say, Amanda, have you watched Kyle and what she does? She literally told Sutton that Jennifer Tilly talks shit about Sutton, and Jennifer Tilly and Sutton are best friends. That's your best friend, Kyle. And now you're pretending like, oh, well, why would Sutton bring it up and then ask me to resolve it? But Kyle's okay to do that with Jennifer Tilly and Sutton? Come on now, Amanda. Anyways, on the other coast, the East Coast, really the West Coast is the best coast because I'm from Vancouver, California. West Coast, we don't get the hurricanes and those freaking tornadoes. That East Coast, I don't know what that Atlantic Ocean is haunted. The Titanic went down there. You got the Bermuda Triangle on the Atlantic side. Like that is haunted, that ocean, okay? But the Pacific, it's so nice. It's so great. But then now we're heading to the East Coast where hip hop originated. Yeah, I just threw that in there. And it seems like actually like I would rather be with Rachel, Zoe, Dorit, and Kyle because that looks like so much fun. Like they're at a dinner party. First of all, like I wasn't really want to go to New York, but like I feel like my mind has changed. As I'm getting older, I feel like I belong in New York. Because for example, I lived in Mexico and I loved it. I'll update the Mexico thing later, but like I have a feeling that we're going to be coming back to Vancouver. And I'm only saying this on here because I know that my closest friends won't be listening to this podcast nor get this far into it. So for the people that do, yeah, we might be moving back to Vancouver. But now that I'm back and I'm like, yeah, Vancouver's a big city and I kind of miss the big city vibes. Although don't get me wrong, when I'm able to, I will be going back to a small city. If I'm going to be in a big city, why not just go explore New York? I've been to LA. I love LA. One thing I love about LA is the weather. But I also, when I was younger and I would smoke a lot of weed, appreciated how Vancouver and LA are much more slower paced. You have tons of traffic. You have to drive to get like to the further cities. But it's like people smoke, it's like literally like people smoke so much weed that everyone's just like, yo man, what's up? But one thing I hear about the East Coast, which is New York, Toronto, is it's so much more fast paced. Like I get mad at people in Vancouver and I'm like, everyone's in a rush to get nowhere. People are like, when you go to the East Coast, people are like zooming around to get to nowhere. And I kind of want to be in that kind of vibe. I just want to go see it. So they're at a dinner and Rachel Zoe is meeting like Donna Karan, like all these famous designers because that's just the world that she lived in. And Dorit and Kyle are like dumbstruck. They're like, what the heck is going on? Like they're just so happy to be there. You know what I mean? It's exciting to see. I feel like New York is really where you kind of, can get your footing, and I know a lot of people that move to New York and they don't move back to LA. And I know a lot of people that have lived in LA and they move to New York and they don't go back to LA. So, except for the Kardashians, but I don't know. It's just so much more. It makes me want to go there. Just watching those scenes made me want to go there. Rachel Zoe says that men are hitting on 40 to 50-year-olds and they lose their women due to egos. No, men are hitting 40 to 50 and they lose their women due to egos because at that age their wives are not making more money than them perhaps and they become more insecure. And then Dorit agreed because she says that that's exactly where her and PK started having problems. PK would say that he doesn't want to be walking behind her and holding a dog. He's always used to being the one in front. He's the one that's making the most money. And so when she started making money as well, that's when they start having problems in their marriage. And that's not the first time I've heard of stuff like that happen between couples, So it's sad that happens. we get to episode 10 and episode 10 and 11. So just some key things, because I know we're kind of hitting the hour mark here for a little bit past an hour for this podcast episode. Bose and Sutton have significantly increased their friendship throughout the years. One thing I love that Bose said is that she didn't like really Sutton Strack, but she's loving Sutton Brown. And sometimes I hear that name changes like that might, get people to go back to their original self, but I think it's just coincidence, to be honest. Amanda's husband, it pans to scene with Amanda and her husband, and Amanda's husband has also gone through a divorce. And although he's not defending Dorit, he says that, look, I've gone through that as well, and when I was going through it, I didn't like people telling me things. I just kind of wanted people to listen to me, not give me advice or tell me things or give their opinions. Even in that moment, Amanda still doesn't say, like, wow, I still feel like shit. She's like, even though my husband's been through it, I don't know why it's bothering me that Dorit is kind of on my ass. Like, she still can't take accountability. Even her husband just said it. And her husband didn't say, like, I'm trying to defend Dorit here. He's just like, listen, I've also been, like, he just kind of, like, again, made her see, this is what I'm saying. Like, people can say things a certain way that can open up your eyes. I'm sure if her husband had been like, well, let me just kind of play devil's advocate here and defend Dorit. He never said that, because that would piss off Amanda and make her defensive. Instead, he was like, when I went through my divorce, I hated when people gave me support or didn't give me support or just give their opinions, etc., etc. See? Sometimes the way that you word things to people can make them change their opinion. And that was just a perfect example to Amanda, So if Amanda can just kind of take that back and say things a certain different kind of way when it comes to Dorit to make her understand, maybe this would help. And she's the one that's, so much more, she says, intellectually mature and, like, wordly mature, like, more mature with her words. So maybe something like this might change your thought process. I don't know. I'm just trying to, like, play devil's advocate here. Erika fills in Kyle on the manifestation party, and everyone's just kind of checking in on Erika because the news hits that now she's in another lawsuit because she's getting sued for the $25 million that was spent while she was in a marriage with Tom. I feel bad for Erika. It just doesn't really end. Kyle, Dorit, and Rachel go to the surf lounge in New York, and they're partying together, having a great time. It looks so much fun. It looks like younger vibes. It's fun, Erika goes to Amanda's house, and she's giving Amanda advice. She's like, you need to own your stuff. And she's like, we're just curious about the cult. Like, tell us about the cult. And Amanda gets into it with Erika and tells her everything about the cult. And at the end, Erika says, see, this is what we need to know about you. If we learn these little things about you, we get to know you better. And then we don't get so hung up on the one thing about how you gave advice on someone's marriage or, on an opinion on someone's marriage. And Amanda agreed. She's like, yeah, because you just got to know me a little bit better. Exactly. This is how you can kind of steer the conversation away. Okay, you don't want to take accountability? Great. Let's just kind of dive into more who you are. Even Sutton and Bose agree that Amanda quantifies the things that she's earned, but it's really like the process that you've gone through to get there, your journey. Like, tell us more about your journey that it took you to get there. And that's exactly what Erika was also telling her in their own conversation. Like, when Amanda started telling her about the cult, Erika's like, this is the journey that took you to who you are now. This is what we need to hear about you, this vulnerability. And I think Amanda kind of took a little piece of that, so it was nice to see. This part was interesting. Denise meets with Sutton and Erika, and I think part of it was because this was a few weeks after Denise had filed for divorce. So it could have been that she wanted to come kind of clear things up on air because she knew that this would be aired on Beverly Hills Housewives, and she was part of it, and Aaron was also on it, her ex. But it was nice to see that because it opened up a conversation for Erika admitting that she was also physically abused, because I think Denise's premise was that she was physically abused by Aaron weeks after she'd had cosmetic surgery. He was like beating her up, and she just had a facelift. Crazy. And it was about like Erika is dating now a guy that's in special forces, that was in the special forces. And then at the end, she's like, Denise, he was in special forces. And the whole thing was that Aaron found something on Denise's phone that she was cheating on him with one of her castmates from special forces. So when Erika was making that joke at the very end of the conversation, I'm like, maybe it is true, because she's making that joke, but obviously Denise kind of didn't confirm or deny or comment, for that matter, on that, you know. So it was interesting to see. But yeah, Erika did open up about her own physical abuse, and it made Sutton emotional, which Sutton said that she was overwhelmed by that. Like, Sutton, we're sorry that you lived this perfect life in a loveless marriage. Like, there was no passion in it seems like, because like, I know, and I know this is sad to say, but I know so many people that have been physically abused, sexually abused, harassed. It's like we've become desensitized, but like for some reason Sutton lives in LA, but in Beverly Hills, for that matter, but like lives in a bubble still. It's like so weird to me. But it was nice to see Erika get vulnerable and kind of relate with Denise, you know? And this wasn't Tom or anyone before Tom. It was right after Tom she started dating someone and this happened. And she had gone out of it. So, we get to episode 11. I'm going to just, key points. Dorit's talking to her kids on the phone. They did fly private to New York, but she tells her daughter Phoenix that they flew commercial. I don't understand. First of all, the daughter asking her mom, did you guys fly commercial? Weird. What a weird question. But, like, who asked that? But then Dorit lies. Like, it makes me think, like, Dorit, if you lie about little things like this, what else could you lie about? It's like Stacy from Potomac. Like, they're white lies. They're lies that don't really affect anybody. But it's like, but why lie in the first place? It's like, what are you hiding? PK's in the background, so she says hi to PK. Dorit goes shopping, but her credit card doesn't go through. I've been there before. Sometimes you get the wrong card, or one card is maxed. You pick the wrong one, or fraud alert. Fraud alert happens a lot. They just happen to get that. I think that the production did Dorit dirty by doing that. It's like, why would you do that? Because if that airs, and let's say the whole lawyer thing does happen, and people now lawyers are like, oh, so you're spending money they don't even have because your credit card declined? No, it is fraud alert. Sometimes you forget. Like, even if I go to like another city, like that's like 10 minutes away, it's like the outskirts, you know how like there's different counties, I guess, in the States. If I go somewhere that's like even like 5-10 minutes away, sometimes my credit card will be blocked, you know. And it depends which company. Like, some don't care at all, and some will block, and they'll be like, or they'll try to call you like, is this you trying to make this purchase, you know? I just think production did her dirty then. Erika goes to therapy. She gets emotional about her kind of revealing that she was abused, and I think it's great that she's open and honest about that, because, you know, we can all learn. Whoever watches these things can kind of learn and relate, you know, from how other women deal with it and go through it. Kyle and Dorit meet Rachel's parents, and apparently Rachel's parents really loved her ex. It wasn't just a son-in-law, Rachel says, it was their son. But then Rachel gets open and honest about why she filed for divorce, and she found out that her husband was cheating on her. After all these years, 17 years of being together, she finally went through his phone and saw messages, and he admitted it to her. Like, it's like he was kind of like rubbing it in her face. So that's when she's like, this is it. It's over. And it was just the beginning of her getting into it, and the episode ended, but I still find Beverly Hills to be sort of like meh. Like, it's good. Like, it has its like moments where it's like really good, but there hasn't really been a huge climax. And again, it could just be being jaded and being so used to like previous seasons having this big kind of like build and climax and catastrophe, and then, you know, but it does definitely resemble like beginnings of Housewives franchises when it was just kind of like little minuscule issues, and I think it's just us getting used to that again, you know. Love the aesthetic though for this season, the black and the gold, or the black and the pink. Yeah, it's interesting to see. I'm not really into the whole Natalie chick. Like, who the hell is she? Why is she there? Hopefully their trip to Italy becomes a little bit more interesting. Because right now the whole season has been about like Amanda, who's brand new, and then now Denise, you know. So anyways, guys, wow, we haven't done that in a while, a long Beverly Hills one. So that's Beverly Hills. I'm catching up with Summer House and Southern Charm and the Valley Persian Style. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of transition to doing the more main things that have happened that we can discuss. But our intro today was kind of long. We got into some hot topics and whatnot. So thanks for listening, pursuers. Stay tuned, because again, more recaps coming up, and I will do another Dear Nas segment where I answer pursuer questions. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, rate, review. You can find my podcast anywhere that you can get your podcast: Spotify, Apple, Podbean, iHeartRadio. Please, again, like, comment, subscribe, share. Please, if you want to get a hold of me, find me in the show notes. You can find all the information on how you can get a hold of me. Hope to hear from you guys soon, and we'll see you next episode.